3-year-old twins, so we have lots of Uncrustables all the time. So
it's a great option, always.
I think Maddie could live on, that's one of my other daughters. She could live on Uncrustables for sure. Like at least 2 out of 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
She'd be fine with that.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that most days, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that means all I have to do is go to Costco and buy a big-ass box of them, and we're good. Like, okay, that's cheap.
What is your go-to Uncrustable flavor?
The grape jelly one.
Grape jelly.
Yeah, this morning I only had strawberry, but the grape jelly is definitely the go-to.
Raspberry's pretty good.
I didn't even know there was a raspberry.
There's a raspberry.
Oh.
What's another one?
How many different varieties of Uncrustables are there?
What that I know of, there's peanut butter and honey, which is a good one.
That'd be good.
There's basically, they don't call it Nutella because they're not licensing Nutella, but they call it the hazelnut spread one, which is really good. I think there's a chocolate one. There's grape, strawberry, raspberry.
Sound like they should have a hot honey and maybe a pizza oil one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they used to have like a turkey and cheese, like ham and cheese one that you could do. I don't think they have this anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I assume you like pizza.
Oh yeah, love it.
Do you like spicy things?
Kinda.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Go out and look for a thing called pizza oil. Basically, it's olive oil, but infused with jalapeno. It's not super hot.
Okay.
It's just a little bit
kick to it.
Little kick.
And drizzle that on pizza.
Okay.
Dude,
It's awesome.
it's kind of like hot honey. I'm not a big honey guy. Hot honey's not bad, but similar concept. It's phenomenal. And then of course, we have the way I eat pizza, crust is last, and then I'll put an extra dose on there.
Like a breadstick.
Dude,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I work at Greek's Pizza. I've worked there for the last like 5 or 6 years. So I'm always experimenting.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
Which Greeks?
49th in college.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I bartend there now, actually.
Oh, wow.
There's a tap room there.
Yeah.
I've been there many times. I don't know if I've ever eaten inside. It's always ordered to go and carry out. But
You've probably made him a pizza.
I probably have.
Probably have.
Yeah.
There's that one? No, right. We will go there. All right. Well, we started with the Uncrustables, rolled into pizza. Might as well just roll into the episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Is this thing on? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Summits Podcast. Thank you all for joining us from wherever you get your podcast, or if you're joining us on the Heroes Foundation YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. By the way, if you're on the YouTube channel and you haven't hit the subscribe button or the little notification bell icon, please do so. We would greatly appreciate it. It won't cost you a dime. You can even do it while you're enjoying an Uncrustable or a slice of pizza with some pizza oil on it. No problem. All right. We're dialing down the age here. I'm pretty happy because the average age in this room just dropped significantly. I'm just kind of screwing up the curve. You're welcome.
You're an outlier. We can.
Well, now Connor and I are the bookends.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kind of chilling
I'm just kind of there in the middle.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So our guest today is Mr. Connor Whaley. Connor, welcome to the Summits Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Connor, being the youngin' in the room, why don't you give us a little bit of background, even though it's relatively brief to our average guest, but give us a little background on yourself.
All right. Well, so I'm born and raised in Indianapolis. I'm 21 years old, so I've been living here for 21 years now. I'm going into my senior year at IU.
Go Hoosiers.
Yeah, go Hoosiers. That, I guess, is the extent of the quick little background of me.
But you know, I grew up, or you grew up, I guess I grew up too, but I was way before you, your parents' age. I knew your mom growing up, kind of grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to North Central.
North Central. Okay, so you're a Panther.
Yeah, and then I went to IPS for K through 8.
Okay, we're at
CFI 84, so across the street from HM.
And then what made you decide to go to IU?
I mean, it was kind of the easy decision. Whole family went there.
Right.
I really didn't apply to any other schools. It was kind of just like,
This is it.
it's the dream, I guess. It was.
Yeah.
Well, it's literally my entire family went there except for a couple people.
And you grew up going to basketball and football games and all that.
That's all I went to. Huge IU basketball fan. I still am. Kind of disappointing right now, but
we'll see.
at least we have football now. But it was definitely a super easy decision to go there, especially with dance marathon too, because that was something I was a part of somewhat in high school.
Okay.
And I had a bunch of older friends that were doing a dance marathon. They said I had to do it there.
Right. You have 2 older siblings. Were they also involved with Dance Marathon?
They were not.
Okay.
Well, my sister did it at Ball State for like, I think, a year, but they kind of just did their own thing. We had a bunch of other different Dance Marathon related things that we were involved with just throughout the years, but they never got as involved as I did.
Yeah. You mentioned IU basketball. What's the student consensus on the new coach and all the changes happening there?
I haven't been able to get a good read on it. Yeah. I am confident. I like all these mid-major guys coming in.
Yeah.
The coach's son is actually really good, which I'm excited for, but it's hard to tell. I think everyone's too focused on football, which is okay. Take the pressure away from IU basketball.
Right. I've had several people ask me, and I'm like, I have no idea. I think it's similar to a year ago when Signetti was hired, and he's starting to bring a lot of these JMU guys and other folks from smaller schools. And JMU had a great record, but we didn't know how was that going to translate to the Big Ten. And I think if you look at the players that he's bringing in now, coming from a lot of smaller schools, how is that going to play in the Big Ten? Who knows?
Yeah, you really
Give us
can't.
6 to 10 months, and then we'll tell you.
Exactly.
Who knows?
And you can't really expect a Signetti type season out of DeVries. So
yeah. Well, it'd be nice. We'll see.
I'm gonna hope. I'm gonna hope. Still gonna go to every game and really hope.
Right. Yeah. So what's your major at IU?
I'm studying management with a minor in the Kelley School of Business.
Okay. Nice. Good stuff.
I couldn't tell you what I want to do with it, but we're figuring it out.
We all need more managers.
You mentioned you're intern right now.
Yes,
right?
I'm interning right now at Fitzmark, so I'm a sales and operations intern.
Okay.
Pretty much just tracking and tracing a bunch of deliveries, finding leads for different booking needs that they have. But,
okay. Yeah. How's that going so far?
It's pretty good. It's very fast paced, which is nice. It's still like an 8 to 5 office job, but I feel like I always have something to do. Always answering the phones for something.
Nice.
Which I like. I like the hustle and bustle of that, not just sitting in a cubicle.
Yeah. What's the most surprising, both positive and negative piece that you like? It's like kind of like your last intern before going into having to find a real job.
Probably the negative is definitely waking up at 6:30 every morning, doing the same thing all the time. But a positive is just kind of there's so much structure there for me, which I really enjoy. I know my schedule. I know exactly what I have going on. That kind of helps with just kind of my sanity, I guess. But,
yeah.
So that's got to be it for sure.
Cool. How much sales exposure are you getting?
It's a pretty decent amount. They have us doing a lot of like outbound cold calls, which I have never experienced before. So it's definitely different, but it's an experience for sure. But it's definitely a good place to get a lot of experience because there's just so much going on, and because they constantly have different loads coming in, coming out. But it's something.
Yeah. One thing I like telling kids your age or just out of school, get as much sales exposure, even though you don't think you're going into sales, because we're all in sales to some capacity or in some capacity. Mm-hmm. So the skill sets you learn by doing that, it'll serve you well going forward for sure.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that a lot, especially from like professors at school, and just I feel like everyone in life, like there's sales somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And making cold calls, there's a lot of people do not like doing that.
Yeah.
But it's a skill set that even if you ultimately decide, okay, that's not something I want to do, there's certain skill sets that you pick up from having to go through that experience that will serve you well for sure. And speaking from experience, it's not my favorite thing to do, but yeah, I'm glad I was forced to have to do that for a while.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely super intimidating, but I can see how it's going to benefit me in the future.
Turns you into someone that never meets a stranger at that point. You do that for a while. You just you're like, oh, you can pick up the phone or walk into someplace and talk to anybody because you've been told no 1,000 times. And what's one more person that doesn't want to talk to you at that point?
So tell us a little bit about what you do with Dance Marathon at IU. I know IU Dance Marathon is a huge organization. It's been around. It was started even before I went to IU.
1991.
Okay, so that year I graduated from high school. Don't do the math. So great organization. You guys raise a ton of money. What area of Dance Marathon are you working in, and can kind of tell us a little bit about what the latest is down there?
So right now I am the director of Riley Development, and we work directly with the families and the children at Riley Hospital for Children, which I think is super awesome considering that's just where I was treated. But we plan different events throughout the year. Like we'll do like this summer we have a children's museum event coming up that's new to us that I've been working on.
Okay.
We'll do like a pumpkin patch. We work a lot with IU athletics too. So we'll do like a soccer game, football game where the kids get to go out in the field and like high five the players. And the football game's super cool because they get to like hold the huge American flag.
Nice.
But we'll do that during the year, and we just we bridge the gap for all of Dance Marathon. So we get all their stories onto our website, so people can kind of like know who they're helping and like the kind of impact they have. Because all the families are super like just grateful for us, and we just want to keep giving back to them.
So you guys have extended that relationship, or that partnership, I should say, with Riley. That it's not just the event itself that raises a bunch of money, but it's gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's extended beyond that and creating more, I don't want to say value, but creating more relationship-based activities for the families and the patients there.
Yeah,
right?
We want to be able to help them both by the fundraiser, by donating money to the hospital, but also just kind of like making everything feel as normal as possible. Just kind of giving them some sort of support throughout the year.
Yeah. When you guys do some of these activities with the kids, where the bulk of the kids coming from? They're not just from Bloomington, correct?
No, they're from all over the state. We've got a lot from like Evansville. A lot of them do live in the Indianapolis area just because of the proximity to Riley.
Yeah.
But they come from all over the state. We have a couple. We have one buddy that's actually, she moved to Florida and she still sometimes comes to Dance Marathon, which is super awesome.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah.
How old is she now, roughly?
I want to say she's 15 now. Okay. But that's my best guess. We have so many families, so it's kind of hard to keep track of them all.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, you already mentioned this. Your connection with Riley is not just call it a business one through Dance Marathon. It's also a personal one. So Connor, why don't you tell us what is your cancer story?
Yeah. So when I was 9 years old, I was diagnosed with aplastic anemia, and that basically means that my body wasn't producing enough new healthy blood cells. So I was originally at Peyton Manning Children's Hospital. Quickly, they were like, after some weeks of testing, they were like, we can't treat you, that you have this. Every day until my diagnosis, they're like, you don't have this, you don't have this. And when they came to aplastic anemia, they said, you are going to need to transfer to Riley Hospital for Children and get a bone marrow transplant. So I was there. It was 2 weeks of chemotherapy and then the bone marrow transplant, but they had to find a perfect match to donate the bone marrow. So they tested all my family first, and my brother ended up being a perfect match for me, which was super cool. It's kind of a special bond that me and him have now. Yeah. So that was when I was 9. I am now, is it 11? How old am I now?
21.
21, yeah. I'm 11 years in remission now.
Okay.
Just trying to give back as much as I can. But it's a big part of me now. I've got tattoos from it. My whole family has the aplastic anemia ribbon tattooed.
Okay.
I have the date of my bone marrow transplant, February 14th, 2014, tattooed on my thigh. It's just a huge part of my life, and just it's kind of made me who I am as a person now.
Right. What symptoms were you having? Like, when did you realize something's not right?
So the biggest thing was me and my dad were running the Drumstick Dash in Indianapolis, and I couldn't finish it. I couldn't even bring myself to walk. That was the biggest thing that was like, okay, we should probably go to the doctor. Like my dad had to carry me home. We didn't even finish the race. And then being at school, I would, all the teachers were like, you look green, you look gray. And I was like, I feel totally fine. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they'd send me to the doctor, or they send me to the nurse and give me some water, and then I'd be okay. And then I was also just getting bruises all over my body. Just a bunch of stuff that I didn't really see was a big issue. I guess there was times where I was like walking down the hall and I'd just take a break. I'd just like kind of sit down. But I was like, okay, I'm just tired. Probably need some water.
Yeah.
And then went to the doctor, got a bunch of testing done, and they're like, you should probably go to Peyton Manning.
Yeah. So was it a blood test?
Yeah, it was a blood test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bone marrow transplant, no joke. Kudos to your brother for not like being a match, which he didn't like control over it.
Yeah.
but then, stepping up and saying, yeah, let's do this. What do you remember about that whole process?
It's honestly, thinking about it now, because it was so long ago, it's kind of a bit of a blur. There's definitely a lot of specific things that I remember. I pretty much remember mostly only the good things. Like I remember being at Peyton Manning, and I feel like it was like my second or third day there, and all of my friends came just to hang out with me. There was probably like 30 of them there, and all their parents were there hanging out. I remember being at Riley and being in my playroom. I was the only kid on my floor because it was, I don't know why, but I was the only kid on the floor, so I had the playroom to myself. And my parents were like, okay, look out onto the parking garage. There's a parking garage right there.
Yep.
And it was like 150 people out there doing like a flash mob for me, which I thought was awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
But I mean, there's definitely some times where I was like pretty scared. Like I remember like anytime my temperature would spike, it kind of turned into chaos, and there were doctors and nurses everywhere around me, and I didn't really understand fully what was going on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I remember a lot of good things, and I remember all the support that was there for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I remember, I guess it was at, where was it? It might have been at Peyton Manning. So before you went to Riley, we were doing one of the very first Team Joey Lego gives, and did not know you were there. Walked in, all of a sudden I see you and your mom sitting in the room, and I was like, oh, what's up? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Sort of. But did our first Lego give there, which that was an interesting experience, because you don't when you go in, you don't envision running into anybody you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, I think it was fairly early on in the process, because obviously you were still at Peyton Manning's before you'd gone down to Riley. Looking back on those 11 years now, what things stick out to you about about the overall experience? Are there things that you are grateful for? Are there things that still kind of haunt you a little bit? I'm 26 years out now, and there's some times where you get the little twitch somewhere, and you're like, oh shit, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any of those lingering thoughts at all?
A big thing that I have, it's kind of like the thought of going to a hospital. It's always kind of really bothersome for me.
Maybe the smells too.
Yeah.
That's the same.
The smells are just like just smelling the food they have there. That's probably the worst thing. But like, it's just kind of like anytime I step foot in the hospital, it's like, I don't like this feeling. We got the opportunity at the beginning of this year to go and tour the hospital with all of Dance Marathon exec.
All right.
And at first I was really nervous about it. And then the night before we were all talking, we were doing our little traditions that we have. And I kind of realized like, these are the people I want to be going to the hospital with. Like these are,
Sure.
it felt like a full circle moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of just, I felt, I guess, kind of safe again there, like kind of knowing that everything's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, guys, if I feel weird, I might bail. You guys just keep doing it. Don't worry about me. Well, that's cool. What advice? So looking back, you're 21 now. What would you tell a 9 or whatever age, 5 to 15-year-old Connor or Jane Doe who may be experiencing the same thing? What advice would you give them, or what guidance would you provide?
I would just say probably lean on the people around you. Lean on the people around you and be an open book about everything, because closing yourself off, not hiding your pain, really won't help at all. But when you lean on people around you, they're there to help you. Mm-hmm. Everyone will be there to help you. So that's got to be the biggest advice, because I realized how much I was being helped, and there was definitely times where I closed myself off and didn't want help.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to ask for help.
Do you go back every so often for any more checkups, or are you pretty much free and clear?
I go back once a year, but my doctor actually has an office in Bloomington, which is kind of nice. So I don't have to go very far.
Yeah,
right.
I got one coming up. It's just kind of, because the chemotherapy has a little bit of some side effects, so it's really just going back to check up on that. Yeah. But after 5 years, I was good for my normal checkup, make sure everything's still okay, everything's gone.
I remember hitting that mark, and he's like, don't need to see anymore. You're good to go. Totally up to you. Some people would still want to come back just once a year just to check in, and that's totally fine. And I think I did that I may have done that for another 5 years. Just go back once a year, and then it, everything was good, and there was no point in going back. But to each their own. We're happy that everything has worked out well for you. We're happy that you're staying in the mix with Dance Marathon. Fast forwarding a year from now, you're a new IU graduate. I'm sure you'll have landed a great job. You're off mom and dad's payroll. You're welcome, mom and dad.
Yeah.
What ways would you want to continue to give back?
So now being more involved with Dance Marathon, I kind of realized that your help doesn't stop after you graduate. So we have a huge alumni network that I can still be a part of, which I'm really excited for. I'm trying to think I think I'm still going to be just as involved. There's so many different things I can do. Like if I ever have a job, I can always be like, hey, let's be a corporate sponsor for this event, or let's just, I don't think I will ever stop donating to the cause, especially once I get some adult money, I can actually donate a little bit more. But I think with IUDM, I can still be not just involved, but still be as involved as I want to, and still give back to what I love so much.
Right. One thing I appreciate about you and like so many others is we've taken this this circumstance that we've been through and take that emotion of it and turn it into passion, turn it into action. And you know, the only way we're going to continue to fight this disease is by doing something about it, right? And so the things that you guys are doing at Dance Marathon, the things that you guys will continue to do as you graduate, whether it's still with Dance Marathon or any other organization, is gonna help keep propelling that desire to kick cancer's ass.
Yeah, for sure.
So we appreciate you doing that. Anything else you'd like to share?
Back to the Team Joey stuff, I was actually thinking about it. So I have a whole quilt like of all my T-shirts from when I was going through my cancer treatment, and there's a Team Joey like right in the middle, Team Joey T-shirt. Nice. And then my dad, when I was telling him that I was coming to do this, he was like, wait, I have a picture I want to show you. And it was me with Adam Vinatieri when you guys brought him in. Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of cool. And that was cool. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you reminded me. I forgot Adam was on that give. Do us a favor, if you have, or when you get home, get a picture of that quilt and shoot it to us.
For sure.
We'll put that in this episode as well. All right, man. Well, we appreciate your time. Good luck senior year. Good luck this summer with the internship.
Thank you.
Don't drink too many Bapples.
They're sold out now.
Yeah,
so
I got a couple stored away.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. I got a little stash.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you again for coming in and sharing your story. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right. And thank all of you guys for tuning into this episode of the Summits Podcast. We appreciate you guys for tuning in from wherever your podcast, or if you're on that Heroes Foundation YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, guys, don't forget, just as Connor would appreciate, beat cancer.